Woo. Welcome back to BT. Devo Brown, Sid Sixero here with you. Let's bring in Dan Shulman, voice of the Toronto Blue Jays on Sportsnet, for this comment specifically, because I want to see Dan's face as I say what I'm about to say. I remember, Dan, good morning. Appreciate you.
Good morning.
About 3 weeks ago, you were on BT, and I said to you, the season's over, they need to shut down George Springer. To which you said, you know what, Sid, I think they need to play it out. One of us was right. And it wasn't me. The Blue Jays, in case you missed it over the weekend, they put up 47 runs in a 4-game series against Baltimore. That has never happened in the history of baseball in a 4-game series, ever. The Jays are 11-1 this month. They are in a playoff spot as we speak, as they open a series against the Rays tonight. Dan will be calling in on Sportsnet. Dan, this has taken a turn. I mean, we knew they needed to get hot. Did you see them getting this hot?
Yeah, well, no, there was no way to see them getting this hot. But in fairness, 2 days after we had that conversation, and I said you got to play it out, 2 days later, you tweeted they got to shut down George Springer. The season is over.
Yes,
so you backed it up
Thank
again.
you for reminding me, Dan.
And listen, he's not healthy, but he's had a couple of the biggest hits they've had in this run. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is the hottest hitter on the planet right now. You can't go 2 days without hitting a grand slam. No, nobody could have seen this coming, whatever it is, 13 out of 15. At the same time as the Yankees are losing 12 out of 15. But that's why we always have to keep reminding ourselves each and every year, it's a long, long, long season and things can change in a hurry.
Yeah, it's so true. And Dan, I remember just having the same conversation with Sid. He's like, nah, man, that's a wrap on the season. I'm like, have hope. There's a chance. They got to go hot, get hot, and they did. Do you think that first game of the doubleheader on Saturday and that Springer home run, they lose that game, you think that kind of signals the end of the season if they don't get that win?
No, I wouldn't have thought that because they easily could have come back and won the last two. And what they did the previous 10, 11 days has put them in a position where I don't think any one loss is fatal to their chances right now. Now, you go back to the Oakland series, which seems like months ago, but it's only a couple of weeks ago when they win that crazy game when they score 6 in the 8th and then Simeon walks it off in the 9th. That's one where if they hadn't have won it, I might have said, oh, boy, they're really on life support right now. But at this point, they've done enough where I don't think any one loss ends their chances. I mean, they're tied with Boston. They're ahead of the Yankees, and Oakland and Seattle are 3 games back. So, we all said, well, for them to get in the playoffs, they're going to have to go X and Y in the next number of games. They've done better than that. They've done better than anybody's best expectations, and they put themselves in it's not over. There's a lot of baseball to be played, but I don't think any one loss at this point is going to decide their fate or really knock them out.
Dan, considering Marcus Simeon is going to get paid this offseason based on the way he's playing, and a new position, by the way, and there's a lot of shortstops coming up for free agency. He can play now second and short. Robbie Ray, free agency, it's going to be tough. Like, the urgency feels like it's there, right? Like, who knows what this offseason is going to bring. This really, if you're going to make this run, this should happen now.
Yeah, I think so. And there will be a lot of time to talk about the offseason. And you're right. They could get both of them back. They could get neither one of them back. If they don't get either one of them back, they're going to go out and get some other guys. But I don't know they're going to find guys who are as good as Marcus Simeon and Robbie Ray. I've stayed away from the word urgency this year, but I understand what you're saying. I mean, it feels like they're good enough to get in. And then the next step is if they get in, it feels like they're good enough to play with anybody, certainly in the American League. Like, can they play with the Astros and the White Sox and even the dreaded Rays, who we'll find out they play them for 3 games beginning tonight? It feels like the way they're playing now and with the talent they have, they can play with anybody. Like, look at the Rays of last year versus the Rays of this year. They don't have Glass now. They don't have Snell. They don't have Morton. Look at the Blue Jays of this year versus the Blue Jays of last year. They've got a better Robbie Ray. They've got Marcus Simeon. They've got a totally different Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It feels like the talent gap has narrowed and maybe even totally closed. So maybe from that point of view, I think there's some urgency because I think they can play with anybody in the American League if they get in.
Dan, I want to stay away from the stats for a quick second here. We've got about a minute left. When you're calling these games, 22 runs happening, what's that like for you? Are you in the moment and just having fun with it as well? Like, what's that like to call a game when a team is hitting 2 grand slams in the same game? Like,
well, I didn't do yesterday's game, so I can't speak to yesterday specifically, but I've done games like that. And It's a whole lot different if the team you are covering, if the team that you follow every day is scoring 22 versus the other team scoring 22. Those are two totally different situations. But listen, they provided a lot of excitement, scoring 11 in the 7th inning the day before, coming back to a win 11-10 in the first game of the doubleheader. The Oakland game I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, that I did that one, which I think is the most important game of the season for them. So, baseball in 1,000 different ways is different than every other sport. And that's one of them. But sometimes you just buckle up and jump on for the ride, because you never know where a baseball game is going to take you.
And always buckle up when the Rays are in town, because I mean, historically, you know what happens in those, but this is massive. Dan Shulman will be on the call tonight. The Jays right now are in a playoff spot. They're 11-1 this month. They're back home tonight on Sportsnet. Check it out. Dan, have a great call. We'll be watching. It'll be fun. Take care, man.
All right, guys. Thanks. Have a great day.
See you too.
The one and only Dan Shulman of Sportsnet. We're going to take a break. On the other side, you can't always avoid an auto accident, but you can avoid the stressful claim process. That can be a pain in the butt afterwards. We'll tell you how to navigate that next. Good morning, Toronto. You're watching BT.